We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. This is an hour flow. I'm Kat. If I haven't met you yet, I do have two screens. So if you do want to turn on your screen so I can see you, you're welcome to do so since it is helpful for me to give some feedback, but you don't have to. It's totally up to you, especially since you're at home. For this practice, you're going to want 2 blocks or 2 sturdy books, and you're also going to want a blanket. We're going to get started in Sukhasana. If Sukhasana is not accessible for you, you can lay on your back, or even if you feel like you'd rather be on your back today, feel free to come onto your back. And start with your blanket. I'm going to just come in profile, but you can sit any way that feels best for you. Take your blanket and fold it into a square. For my blanket, that means I have to fold it in half once. So you have a little bit more of a lift of the blanket, and that's going to have its bones lift up a little bit more. And then come to Sukhasana, just one leg crossed in front of the other. And then just for now, comfortable seat, and put your hands, everybody, on top of your knees. Turn your palms down and just take a moment to really start to tilt your pubic bone a little bit more forward. That's going to bring your hips into more of a fold. And then as you do that, really draw your tailbone back and down, but keep the lift of the sternum. And then see if you can really turn your arms out a little bit more, so you're really creating a little bit wider space from collarbone to collarbone. And then from here, take your gaze, either close the eyes or perhaps take the gaze down. Just give yourself a moment to really start to drop in and surrender. We are working this week with this idea in the yoga practice of Ishvara Pranihara, which simply means surrendering to the universe, or maybe surrendering to the unknown, which is what we've really been doing a lot of, right, lately. And this is a practice that if you've been like me, I've having kind of a hard time with just surrendering to this unknown circumstance that we're in. And the yoga practice really gives us tools to measure where we are in our own body so we can really embody ourselves and where we are, because we can simply go through our day without any agenda, or we can go through our sort of physical practice without any sort of thought to where we're going. But when we start to really embody the practice, really feeling our breath, really noticing, oh, I have a right hand, I have a left hand, then we're really embodying that full practice so that we can really be in the moment. And really, that's what the yoga practice is. And so I have a reading for today. It says, as we learn to stop fighting life, we can begin to act skillfully. Control makes us rigid and tight and narrows our perspective. Getting rid of our armor opens a world of possibility and makes us lighter and more comfortable for the journey. We can monitor our moment-to-moment surrender to life by watching the inner sensations of contraction and expansion. Contraction is a feeling of constriction, a pulling in. Expansion is an opening, a creating of space and wonder. When we find ourselves in contraction, we are fighting life, or we are living in fear. When we find ourselves in expansion, we are in a flow of surrender. And so take a moment to really start to notice all of your surroundings around you. Notice what's in front of you, what's behind you, what's to the left of you, what's to the right of you, what's up, what's down, and then feel yourself in between all those spaces. And then notice anywhere that you are really kind of contracting, holding something. Maybe it's even something mentally that you're contracting and holding in. And then where can you begin to invite in this expansion? When we breathe in, we start to notice that contraction. And when we breathe out, we notice that expansion. And so start to take the breath in a little bit more controlled pattern as you breathe in, just noticing that contraction coming in. As you breathe out, so you can expand to all 4 sides of the body, the front, the back, the left, the right. And then put yourself in the middle of all of those circumstances. And then maybe today, your intention is a surrender. And that's something that might not come right now, but maybe it comes over time. And then take your hands together over your heart her position, Anjali Mudra, bow your chin to your chest. Or maybe you're joining me in this surrender mantra, or maybe it's something else. Whatever it is, let's seal it with a breath as we open our practice this evening. Take a full breath, inhale, and then open, expand out, let the breath out. Blink the eyes open, touch the thumbs to the forehead, or just gaze them close, and then bow the chin all the way down, just greeting yourself, greeting those around you. Welcome. So nice to have so many practicing in this space. Take a moment and slide off your blanket. Come onto hands and knees. And as you come onto hands and knees, really spread your hands evenly and well. And then stack your joints, stack your shoulders over your wrists, stack your hips on top of your knees. So just like when you would find a blueprint before you're building a structure or even building, we've been doing a lot of Legos at my house. So there's always an instruction manual, right, for how things are put together. So just like an instructional manual, think about your body as a blueprint. We want our joints nice and stacked, shoulders over wrist, hips nice and stacked directly on top of the knees. So you're building a good frame, and then feel all four parts of the frame. Feel the front of the body, feel the back of the body, feel the left, feel the right. And then add the breath. Inhale, breathe in through the front, down the back, exhale, left and right. Come all the way back to your center. And then start to add a little bit of movement. Take your hip circle, take your hip over to the right. Drop your hips back to your heels like you're coming into a child's pose, and then draw the hips over to the left. Do that 3 more times. Add the breath with the movement. Keep your hands pressing down. Notice where you connect and maybe where you are disengaging from the hands. Are your feet connected? Can you spread the toes from the big toe to the pinky toe edge of the foot? And you get to choose. You get to choose your pattern. If you move slow, if you move fast through this, really start to tune into what feels best in your body. And then when you come back through center, switch the direction. Go the counterclockwise, take your hips to the left, back to the heels, around to the right. Do that 3 more times. Just moving in the direction, maybe that doesn't feel as natural. Observe if this side perhaps feels a little bit easier. Maybe you prefer to move to the right because that's the side where you always act. But you observe without any judgment. After you finish those 3 rounds, come back. Find your table pose. Realign yourself. And then take your right foot, everybody, back and behind you. Touch your right toes down to the ground. And then I want you to really use your right foot. Plug the ball of your right foot in. So if you can spread your toes from the big toe all the way to the pinky toe edge of the foot. And then start to turn your inner right thigh in and down just slightly to move your right hip a little bit more out towards its own side. And then so you can open your left hip out a little bit more towards its own side, really moving the hips out a little bit more to the right and to the left. And then from here, you may want to look at me for this, but pick up your right foot, take your right foot out towards the side. So imagine your right foot is in a straight line with your left knee, everybody. If you need to look up for that. So from here, we're going to come into a little bit of a cat-cow, but keep your right leg down. Or keep your right foot rather down. You can also either turn on the inner arch of the foot or you can spin on the outer heel a little bit more. From here, inhale to cow pose. Look forward, look out. So you can spin your biceps forward and your triceps back. I'll say that again. Your biceps forward, your triceps back. When you do that, you open up your collarbones. It's like opening up a window for your lungs. And then push the hands down, round the spine, find your cat pose. Do that 3 more times. Inhale to cow, look forward, spin your biceps forward, open your armpits, open your collarbones so you're getting more space expansion in your lungs. And then exhale, push the hands down, round the spine, drop the chin a little bit more into the chest. Find your cat 2 more times. Inhale to cow pose, look forward and out. Exhale, push the hands down, round the spine, find your cat pose. 1 more. Inhale to cow, look forward and out. Exhale, come back to your cat pose. Come back to table pose. Pull your right knee in to meet your left. And then right away, straighten your left leg back and behind you. Touch the left toes down so you can really come on the ball of the foot. Really draw your left heel on top of the ball of your foot. And then really spread the toes so they're making connection to the ground. Big toe spreads all the way to the pinky toe edge of the foot. And then notice if you're dropping your shoulders. Push the hands down. Use the arch of the hands. Think the arch of the hands push down, but the arch of the hands also lift your shoulders up and away from the ground. And then again, turn your left inner thigh in and down. Allow the left hip to move out towards the left a little bit more. And then see if you can turn the outer right hip out a little bit more towards the side to move the right hip out. So when you do that, you're getting expansion across your sacrum and low back. And then pick up your left leg, take your left foot out a little bit towards the side, and then really align your left inner arch with your right knee. One straight line. And then from here, inhale to cow pose, look forward, look out. Look forward, but use your whole torso. Look forward from your pubic bone, your sternum, your chest, then your neck gazes forward, getting the whole body involved. Push the hands out around the spine, find your cat pose. 3 more like that. Inhale to cow pose, look forward, look out. Exhale to cat around the spine. Inhale to cow pose, look forward, look out. Really good, everybody. Exhale to cat around the spine. 1 more. Inhale. Can you look forward a little bit further using the whole body rather than just the neck? Exhale, find your cat pose. Inhale, come back to your table pose. Come back by pulling the left knee in, everybody. And then come back hips to heels for a child's pose. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Rest your forehead down. And then slowly come into a downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. You need to measure out your down dog. The measurement of a down dog is from a plank. So maybe come forward for plank pose. If you need to lengthen your legs back, lengthen your legs back. Then send the hips up and back for a downward facing dog. Push your hands down, lift your shoulders away from the ground. And then start to lengthen through all 4 sides of the torso, the front, the back, the right, the left. Lift your right leg to the sky, down dog split. Draw your right knee into your navel, and then step your right foot forward to your right thumb. Take your hands wide and off the mat. Take your right hand a little bit more like on a clock. 12 o'clock is in front of you. Your right hand is coming out towards 3 o'clock. And then behind you is 6 o'clock. And then to your left is about 9 o'clock. So really move your hands about more towards 3 and 9 o'clock. Push down into your right big toe, your front foot. Lift your right hip up a little bit more. So put a little air in your tires. Then start to drop your back knee down, untuck your back toes. Reach your arms forward and up for a low press-up lunge. That's it. And then today, take an eagle arm. Take your left arm underneath your right arm, and then don't touch the hands, everybody. Listen carefully. I want you to take your left hand to cuff around your right wrist. Almost like if you were gonna put on a bracelet, your left hand is your bracelet side. And then lift your elbows up to chin height. See if you can move your right elbow a little bit more towards the left, and then move your left elbow a little bit more towards the right. And that's gonna really embody yourself to make you think about where that is, right? So if you need a moment, take it, move each elbow out to its own side. And then start to lengthen, reach the arms a little bit more forward and up. As you do that, push down your right big toe. Firm your outer right hip in a little bit more. And then really push back through your left big toe and pinky edge of your left foot. And then slowly hinge forward. Drop your hands down, frame your front foot. And then begin to straighten through your front leg. So here's where your 2 blocks might come handy. Grab your 2 blocks for an Ardha Hanumasana half split. I like to have my blocks a little bit more on the highest side or the highest facet. So just straighten through your front leg. Look at your front toes. You may have to even pick up your right foot and move it forward a little bit. Flex your right toes towards your nose. But keep your torso upright. Don't fold and hinge quite yet. Press down, keep your arms and elbows nice and straight, and then really use your whole torso to look forward. Look forward from your pubic bone, your sternum, your chest, and then your neck. Think that your right quadricep lifts away from the center of your knee, so it pulls your right hip bone back. As it pulls your right hip bone back, see if you can move your left hip a little bit more forward. So you're really putting your hips in alignment, and you're finding that same spreading of the back of the sacrum, which is going to give you more space in your low back. And then stay for 1 more breath. As you breathe in, imagine the front of the body, imagine the back of the body, the left, the right, the up, the down, and then exhale, come back to yourself at your center. Rebend through your right knee, and then take your blocks if you use them, everybody, just off into the side. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up, Step back to a plank pose. Heels come back, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then drop the knees down. Come back first to a child's pose, hips to heels. Come all the way forward. Slide onto your belly. Set up for baby cobra. Hands on the shoulders, arms bent to 90 degrees. Push your feet back. Straighten your legs, but point your toes. Inhale, lift your chest forward and up. Exhale, lift your chest back down. Press back, either to child's or straight back to down dog, your choice. Meet back in downward facing dog. And then find the breath. Press your hands down, lift your hips up. And then start to send your heels down towards the ground. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back towards the sky. Exhale, pull your left knee in. Set your left foot forward to your left thumb. And then right away, take your hands wide. Right hand to 3, left hand to 9. Push your left heel a little bit more down. So really coming more into a 90-degree bend into the left knee. And then so you can allow that heel press down to lift and rise your tailbone up a little bit more. See if you can draw your sternum forward a little bit more and then look forward like you would look forward towards the front of the mat. Now drop your back knee down, untuck your back toes, reach your arms forward and up, low lunge. So good. And then right away, right arm underneath the left, come into an eagle wrap, but take your right hand this time, like you're putting on just a bracelet, take it around your left wrist. And then draw your elbows up to chin high. It's going to help open and spread the back of the body. And then think that your elbows move out towards their own side. Your right elbow moves a little bit more towards the left. Your left elbow moves a little bit more towards the right. And then think about moving your forearms forward and up rather than your elbows a little bit more forward. That's it. Stay for one more full breath in. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Release and unwind your hands. Grab your blocks if you use them on the first side. Frame your front foot, and then for me, I have to kind of wiggle my left foot a little bit more forward, everybody. Yep, that's it. For Ardha Hanumasana, flex your left toes towards your nose. So it's going to really activate the hamstring. But to protect the hamstring, we have to really activate it from our quadricep. So you can even put a little micro bend into your left knee if you have any hamstring issues, and that's going to help bring the quadricep to be a little bit more contracted. Think about drawing the quadricep away from the center of the left knee. And that's going to help open up through the back of the knee. So you're not pulling, you're not pressing. And then so you can even out through the hips. Pull your right hip out a little bit more towards the right. As you do that, think your left hip plugs in and back to pull the left hip out, spreading through the low back of the sacrum. Keep your arms and elbows straight. That's it. And then look forward, look out. Think your pubic bone draws forward towards 12 o'clock. Your tailbone draws back and down towards 6 o'clock. And then add the breath. One more breath here. Breathe in. Exhale, breathe out. Bend back through your left knee. Slide your blocks just off to the side. And then again, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up. Step straight back to a plank pose. So option here to take a vinyasa if you want to flow. Knees can be up or they can be down. For your chaturanga, bend the elbows, lower the torso. Lower all the way down, straighten your legs, point your toes. Baby cobra, if you know it, upward facing dog. Exhale, press back again, your choice, either child's to down dog or meet back in downward facing dog. And then right away, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward. Step, hop, or jump to the top of your mat. Make 2 fists, slide your fists to the inner arches of the feet. Measure out through your feet. That measures hip distance. Bend your knees a lot. Reach your arms forward. And then slowly press your feet down. Think that your knees go forward, but your butt bones go back. And then start to reach your arms forward. Push your feet down evenly and well to rise up to stand. Reach your arms all the way up and over the head. That's it. And then reach your arms out in front of you. Take your left arm underneath your right arm. And then again, cuff the wrists today rather than hands together. Reach your elbows up to chin height. Push down through your left foot. You can even take a slight micro bend into your right knee. Actually, let's do that, everybody. Push down through your left foot and then bend into your right knee. And then start to side bend up and over towards your right side. Up and over towards your right side. So if you can, now start to push down through your right foot. But think instead of just straightening your hamstring, you're lifting your right quadricep up towards your hip. Just straighten and open through the back of the knee. That's it. Then come all the way back forward.
Take a side bend up and over towards the left side. And then again, switch the knees if you want. Bend into your left knee, push down into your right foot. And then if you can go a little bit deeper, push down through your left foot, but think about lifting your left quadricep up to your hip to open up and straighten through the back of the knee. That's it, come all the way back. And then relax your hands down. Reach your arms back out in front of you. Right away, switch the arms. Right arm underneath the left arm. Lift your elbows up to chin height. Then your elbows move out to their own side to spread through the back. And then notice from here, it's a little bit of a constriction. Where can you add that expansion in the breath? And then from here, again, if you want to bend into your right knee, it's going to help you shift the weight into the left foot. And then start to side bend again over towards the right. Your right knee can stay bent. Your left foot plants and firms down. That's it. And then come all the way back through center. Keep the arms, side bend to the left, and then just switch the knees. Bend your left knee, push your right foot down. And if that's too confusing for you, since you're not in a studio space, just side bend, okay? And then come all the way back through center. Good, release your hands all the way down. That just helps open up our shoulders a little bit more. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Arms are straight, legs are straight. Bend your knees as you fold. Hinge from the hips. Take your hands to your shins. Look forward, look out. Push your feet down. Lengthen through all four sides of the torso, the front, the back, the right, the left. So you can draw the front of the rib cage in and up. Really engage in the abdominals. Bend your knees, fold. Release your hands down. Step straight back to a plank pose. Right foot back, then left. And then your choice, half, full, chaturanga, up dog, or stay with baby cobra. That's it. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause for a breath. Press your hands down to lift your shoulders away from the ground. Think that your upper arm bones turn out, and then push your heels down. Lift your heels up, bend your knees, look forward, and then travel to the top of the mat. Step, hop, or jump. Take your hands into two fists. Measure the inner arches of the feet. Bend your knees. Reach your hands forward. Press down through your feet. Notice if you have a tendency to hang back into your heels. Can you draw your knees forward a little bit more and then think that your thighs move up towards your chest. Push your feet down, evenly rise all the way up, reach your arms all the way up. Good, and then come straight back down. Hands to heart center, bend from the knees, fold from the hips, fold. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift, look forward, look out. Exhale, plant the hands down. Inhale, step back with your left foot. Exhale with your right foot to plank. And then your choice again, half or full chaturanga. You can also stay, I'm gonna stay in plank. When you're ready, come back with an exhale to downward facing dog. And then one breath here again. Inhale through the nose. Maybe take a side, feel that full expansion around the whole body as you breathe out. Lift your heels, breathe in. Look forward, jump, hop, or step. Hands to shins, breathe in. Exhale, breathe out and fold. Inhale, bend your knees a lot. Reach your hands forward. Bend your knees more than you did the first two times. Think that your chest moves up towards your thighs. It should feel a little bit of agitation. We want that. Press your feet down. Reach your arms all the way up. Come to stand. Good, and then exhale, hands at the heart. Relax your hands next to your hips. Shift the weight all the way into your heels. Bend your knees for an Utkatasana chair pose. Make sure your knees are tracking over the center of your feet. Thighs down, lift your chest forward and up. Fold, Uttanasana, forward fold. Take your hands to your shins, lift up halfway. If you have a jump back to chaturanga, jump back. If not, stay with that step back. Step back to chaturanga, jump back if it's in your practice, and then meet back on an exhale to downward facing dog. Good, Katie, so nice. Really nice, Stacy, good. When you're ready, lift your right leg to the sky for down dog split. Step your right foot forward to your right thumb. And then take your back foot, keep your back foot a little bit more higher. Take your hands wide again. Right hand to 3 o'clock, left hand to 9 o'clock. And then really draw your torso, everybody, on top of your right thigh. And then I want you to move your right foot a little bit more so it's pointing a little bit more towards 12 o'clock. So really coming into the center of the chest. Rest your chest on top of your thigh. And then can you take the gaze out, 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 out in front of you? Now put your brain in your left foot, find your left foot, turn your left foot so it's parallel to the back of the mat. Reach just your left hand forward. Now open all the way up to a warrior two. That's it, everybody. Right away, straighten through your front leg. Lift your quadricep up to your hip. Take your arms out nice and wide, but you're gonna take that eagle rock with the arms. Left arm underneath the right arm. Take a hand, take your left hand to your right wrist, and then make that cuff. Then turn your torso, everybody, to the left. Take your left foot and spin your left foot more like a 45-degree angle, so your back foot is coming in a little bit more. And then think that your elbows come a little bit more forward, or rather a little bit more towards the left. And then see from here if you can really push the weight into your left foot. Turn your inner left leg in and down, and that's going to help move your right hip back a little bit more into the hip socket. Draw your pubic bone forward and up, draw your tailbone back and down. Keep the eagle arms, but bend your right knee back into a warrior two variation. And the torso is going to stay over facing a little bit more towards the left side. So this is really going to put you in your center. Push down through your right big toe, and think that your inner thigh moves out a little bit more towards the pinky edge of the foot, but press down into your right heel, so you're really moving the hips open and away from one another. Stay with the legs just as they are. We're gonna hinge from our hip, and we're gonna drop our right forearm down to our right thigh. Reach your left arm up and over for an extended side angle. You can keep your right forearm onto your thigh. If you want more, you can take your hand down to the ground. But if that compromises your low back, stay a little bit higher. Use your right forearm as a leverage. Push your right forearm down. Spin the inner right rib cage a little bit more towards the left side. And then maybe start to tuck your chin in to your armpit. And then stay for one more breath. Take a full breath in, a full breath out. Look down, plant your hands, frame your right foot. Turn onto the ball of the left foot. Step straight back to plank. Your choice, half or full chaturanga. Hold your plank. Find a flow. Get rid of any excess energy that you just need to surrender to come out of. Second side, lift your left leg up and back. Draw your left knee in. Set your left foot forward. And then right away, take your hands wide. So you're really giving your hips more space. You're giving your torso more room to move. And then take your right hand to 3, your left hand to 9. And then really put your torso on top of your thigh. Move your left heels really in the center line, a little bit more so the toes and the knee point towards 12 o'clock. And then see if you can really move your torso on top of your thighs, everybody. Yes, a little bit more, Adrian, a little bit more, even more. Think that your knee moves you forward. This should be agitating. Look forward, Katie, look forward, even more. That's it. Yes, so good. Reach your right arm forward. Take your right foot, push it all the way down so it's parallel to the back of the mat. Then rise all the way up, come to your warrior two. Right away, straighten through the front leg. So just kind of notice that, that aha moment. And then take your left arm underneath your right for an eagle arm. Turn your right foot a little bit more at 45 degrees. And then see if you can turn your chest a little bit more towards the right side of the thigh. And then turn your inner right thigh in and down. Lift your elbows up to chin height, everybody. That's it. Move your elbows out to their own side. So good. Then rebend your left knee coming into warrior two, but keeping the eagle arms. And so you can really turn your torso a little bit more towards the right side. That's it. So really when we're doing eagle arms, this is an interior pose. So we're really coming into this contraction of the arms so we can really feel our outside of our shell. And we really have a good security in a sense of where we are on the inside, where we're moving on the outside, so we can really measure up really well. And then from here, keep the legs in warrior two, hinge from the torso, hinge from the hips, and then right away, left forearm onto the thigh. Reach your right arm up and over for extended side angle pose. Utthita Parshva Konasana. Push down through your left forearm, use that as leverage to lift your left shoulder away from the thigh. And then turn the inner part of your left rib cage a little bit more up and over towards the right. And then if you want to go deeper, tuck your chin into your right armpit. Keep pushing your feet down, pushing your feet away from one another. One more breath. So build that tenacity in the lower body, build that stability so that you can really find that ability in the chest. And then look down, find your vision, plant your hands, turn the ball of the right foot, step back again, either plank, lower down through chaturanga, come back when you're ready to downward facing dog, flow, coming into your, so pretty, good, 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 good. Meet back, downward facing dog. And then from here, lift your right leg straight up and back. Set your right foot to your right thumb. Take your hands wide, just like you've been doing. Right hand to 3, left hand to 9 o'clock. Put a little air in your tires. Look forward and out. This time, drop your back knee down and untuck toes. Reach your arms forward and up for a low lunge. Good, and then right away, eagle arms. Left arm underneath your right. Cuff the wrist. Lift the elbows up. That's it. From here, we're gonna keep the eagle arms. Everybody start to hinge and fold. And then I want you to try to fit your left armpit to your right knee. Left armpit to your right knee. And if the answer is no, that's okay, right? Think that your right knee moves forward into your left knee. And some of you might just stay. Before you come into the twist, I want you to really keep the gaze out. Look out in front of you towards 12 o'clock. So you're really gonna start to put yourself on an imaginary spit, finding your plumb line in what we call yoga, or what we call our Sushumna Nadi, or center line. If you can, unwind your right hand to the outside, your left hand to the outside of the right foot. And that might mean you put a block underneath the hand, and that's okay. But as best as you can, fit your armpit into your knee. Think that your knee moves forward into your armpit, and then take your right hand to your low back at your sacrum. So you're really putting yourself on your spit. Your right hand to your low back at your sacrum, Susan. Yes, good. Lengthen your crown of your head forward. Think your pubic bone moves forward, your tailbone moves back. That's it, so pretty. Then start to turn the toes. Keep the length forward. Think that your collarbones widen as you turn and spin. Some of you might explore reaching the right arm straight up, but some of you also might find it actually gives you more center to really keep your right hand on top of your sacrum at your low back. That's it. So good. Do what you can. Beautiful. Stay for one more breath, and then release any variation that you took. Slide your block off to the side. Frame your foot. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee up. Take both hands to the inside of the right foot. Walk your hands around to the left. Wide leg fold. Shorten the distance of your feet, everybody. So walk your feet in a little bit, and then really spread your toes. Right away, bend into your left knee as a nice, gentle counter pose. And then walk your hands forward, really finding a little bit more of a triangle. Your feet make the 2 corners of the triangle. Your hands come forward for the apex of the triangle. And then find the breath. Inhale, up, down, left, right, front, and back. Exhale, come back to yourself at your center. Look forward at your right foot. Walk your hands all the way forward. And then from here, turn onto the ball of the left foot. And you're going to have to step your left foot a little bit wider from here. And then set your left heel down so it's at 45 degrees. You may want your blocks nice and handy around your right leg, everybody. So if you need to readjust to take your blocks, I like one on the highest side around my right foot to come into a Parsvottanasana, a pyramid pose. Both legs are straight. That's it. Both legs are straight. And then try to take your torso a little bit more so it's at a 90-degree angle. And you're going to have to maybe use the blocks to do that. Yes, so much better. Good. So pretty. And then push down into your right big toe. Firm your outer right hip in. Think that your right hip moves back into the socket. And as you do that, it turns your left inner thigh in and down. But keep plugging your left heel back. So you're really turning your pelvis. And when you do that, you're finding that same expansion we've been working with. Your right hip moves out towards 3. Your left hip moves out towards 9. Your pubic bone moves towards 12. Your tailbone moves back towards 6. And then see if you can really notice where you're contracting anything. Where are you holding? Maybe it is the back of the hamstring on that right side. Can you put a light micro bend into the right knee? And then really open it by drawing that right quadricep up to the hip, but move from the center of the knee up, 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 up. Open through the back of the hamstring. Stay for one more full breath in. Let the breath out with a big sigh. Really good work. And then bend into your right knee. Move your blocks, if you have them, everybody, about 2 feet in front of your right foot. 2 feet in front of your right foot. Bend your right knee a lot. Shift the weight into your right foot. We're going to move into variation of warrior 3 with your hands on blocks, but I want you to keep the right knee bent just for today. Bend, bend, bend through your right knee. Use your right knee to find the bend so it moves your right hip out a little bit more towards 3 o'clock. That's it. And that's going to pull your left hip out a little bit more towards 9 o'clock. Then start to straighten through your left leg. Maybe your left heel comes in line with your left buttock bone. Lengthen through all 4 sides of your torso, everybody. So pretty, Nancy. Good. Breathe in through the front of the torso, the back, the left, the right. And then slowly, slowly, slowly rebend through your right knee. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Good. And then hands come 2 fists inside the inner arches of the feet. Bend your knees a lot. Think that your chest moves up towards your thighs. And then reach your arms forward. Push your feet down. Inhale, stand up tall. Rise all the way up. Find that moment of release. Exhale, hands to the heart. Relax your hands next to your hips. Really good work. Take your blocks just for a moment off to the side so that you have them handy for that second sequence. And then step your feet either hip distance or you can take your feet together. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, look forward, lengthen, step, hop, or jump back to chaturanga. Your choice for the flow. When you're ready, meet back in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, step your left foot forward to your left thumb. Take your hands again wide and off the mat. Right hand to 3, left hand to 9. Push down through your left heel to lift your left buttock bone up in line with the shoulder. And then start to drop your back knee down, untuck your back toes. Reach your arms forward and up for a low lunge. Good. And then right arm underneath the left arm for your eagle wrap of the arms. Right away, we're going to come into the twist. Hinge from the hips. Take your hands forward and see if we can really start to draw your right armpit to your left knee. Your right armpit to your left knee. Before we start the twist, get anchored through your back foot, your right foot. Really spread your toes from the big toe to the pinky toe mound. And then push down into your front heel. Think that your knee moves forward to make a stronger contact with your right armpit. Then if you want to start to turn the pose, release your right hand either to the outside of the foot or you can grab a block. If that's not going to work for you, you can also take your hand to the inside, okay? So move where it feels supported for you. Pick up your left hand, put it to your sacrum just to start the pose. And then before you twist, really get your right shoulder moving towards 12 o'clock a little bit more. That's it. Turn your left shoulder back towards 6 o'clock. Good. I'm going to come look and see how it's going. This is a hard pose. So when we turn into ourselves, where can you find that expansion of the breath? Good. Put your knee a little bit more forward for Adrienne and Stacy, really into the pose, forward, forward, forward. And then see if you can lean your head back a little bit more, Nancy. Yes, so good. So good, Susan, so pretty. And then look down, take your hands down, frame your left foot. Right away, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up. Walk your hands around the inside of the left foot. Come into a wide leg fold. Shorten the distance of your feet. Right away, bend your right knee to let go of that whole stretch. So this should feel like letting go of that strong constriction. And then from here, you can just stay by bending into the right knee, maybe swaying a little bit side to side. Walk your hands out a little bit so you're really coming into that triangle shape in the torso and the body. And then maybe start to notice what you need to move around. What do you need to surrender? Coming to this idea of Ishvara Pranihara. Is it plans that you had? Is it some expectation that you had? And really, this is the true practice of yoga, is what we're living. It's like surrendering to the present moment. It's like all the work that we've been doing all along was really preparing us for this moment. Look forward towards your left foot. Turn your left toes to face front of the mat. And then pick up your right foot, everybody. Take your right foot so it's angled down 45 degrees. And then if you wanted to use the blocks on the second side for your pyramid pose, take your blocks. I like them on the highest facet for me. Even though I can touch the ground with ease, it really just brings my spine into more alignment from here. And then push down into your left big toe. Everyone can put a little micro bend into the left knee. Think that that bend in the left knee lengthens your quadricep away from the center of the knee so that your hip is moving back to the back and into the socket. And think that that turn moves your hip out a little bit more towards the left, towards 9 o'clock. Plug your right heel back and down, and then really turn the top of your right thigh in and down to move your right hip out more towards 3 o'clock. And then lengthen through your torso, the front, the back, the right, the left. Think that the front of the rib cage draws in and up to really start to engage through the abdominals. And then slowly, everybody bend into your left knee. Move your blocks about 2 feet in front of you, about 2 feet in front of you. Keep the big bend into the left knee just for today and the hands on blocks, coming into just a modified warrior 3 pose. Really start to bend into your left knee a lot. That's it. And then so you can pull your right leg straight back. The right toes are flexed and pointed down. And there's a slight turn in and up towards the ceiling of your right thigh. Lengthen through your torso. Really get stable through your left foot by pushing down to bend a little bit more into the left knee. And then put a big bend into your left knee to step your right foot up to meet it. Make 2 fists with your hands. Slide the fist to the arches of the knee. Bend your knees a lot. And then this time just ragdoll, opposite hand, opposite elbow. Allow yourself to fold. So you can keep the knees bent like we've been working, or you can start to lift your quadriceps away from the center of your knee to really start to hinge and fold from here. And then notice what's going on with your feet. Can you push down into your right and left big toe mounds? Think that that turn comes in to draw the inner arches of the feet in, and then spread the toes. Keep the big toe pressing down, but also push into the pinky toe edge of the foot so that your feet come out a little bit more towards the outer edge of the feet. And then push down evenly through all 4 corners of the feet. Relax your hands down, and then bend your knees a lot. Look forward and out. Slide your props just for a moment off into the side, everybody. And then step, hop, or jump back for your final flow before we come into seated poses. Meet back when you're ready in downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. That's it. Drop your knees down. And then sit back onto your heels. And then come around. Draw your hips to one side. Send your legs out in front of you. That's it. I'm going to come in profile so you can hopefully see me a little bit better from here. You're going to want your blanket if you have it, or you can also just roll your mat up 2 or 3 times to sit on the edge of something. And when we sit on the edge of something, you really want to have it a little bit higher than you think you should go, because that's going to help lift your tailbone up a little bit more, and that's going to really give you a good fold into the hips. From here, we're going to just keep our legs nice and straight. Bend your knees, and you can just kind of let go of the feet. You don't have to really activate them and find that really true muscular engagement. We're going to come into just a little bit of pranayama practice before we come into the seated poses from here. Take your hands out wide, or take your hands out in front of you. Eagle wrap. Take your left arm underneath your right. Eagle wrap, make that cuff. And then this time I want you to choose what you want to do with your right hand. You can make it into a fist. You're really kind of working through something that you're having trouble surrendering. Make a fist. You're really finding that contraction so that you can really find that expansion of the end and release, everybody. We're going to do really gentle Kapalabhati breath. And a Kapalabhati breath is a forceful breath usually, but we're just going to do kind of a soft pumping. And it's almost like someone's taking their fist and they're pushing it into your navel or pushing it into your gut. And it kind of goes like this. It goes, So we're gonna go for 15 rounds, and we're gonna start by just gently taking the elbows over towards the right side. And I want you to try to tuck your chin over towards the left shoulder. So your chin is actually gonna make contact with your left shoulder. And so I want you to really make this personal. Start to notice what you need to move around, what's really kind of stirring you up and constricting you, so that you can really release it and let it go. So go for 15 Kapalabhati breaths. Take a big breath. Inhale. Let go of those breaths. Exhale. Elbows bound. Take the elbows to the left. Take your chin over the right shoulder. And then again, put yourself around that circumstance. 15 Kapalabhati breaths. Once you've done your 15, take a big breath in, a big breath out. Feel that letting go, expansion. Move the elbows to the center line, and then pull the elbows into your navel. Come into your shell. So tuck the chin into your chest. Think a cat spine. 15 Kapalabhati breaths. Really soft. Take a big breath. Inhale. Breath out. Exhale. Lift your elbows up to chin height. And this time, keep your elbows in the bind, but lift your elbows up a little bit higher. Think that your elbows move into the crux of, or your chin moves into the crux of the elbows if you can make contact. This is also stimulating for the thyroid. And then start to move up and over yourself. And then 15 Kapalabhati breaths. So really making it personal. You're really getting around yourself, and you're moving through yourself, and you're really kind of finding your own obstacle. So you're coming into your own personal shell and making it personal. So you can find the space to move it out of you, move it away. Then after those 15 breaths, take your elbows down, release the hands, really good work. And then take a moment, just tense your fingertips to the right and to the left, to 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And then just take a moment to find the breath. Notice the breath as you breathe up the body, down the body, left, right, front and back. Exhale, feel like you're returning back to your center. So really giving yourself the opportunity to identify what you need to get over, so you can really come into your present circumstance. So you're really finding your own personal territory, so you can see your weakness, you can see your strengths, and you become a good mediator, a good articulator, really navigating yourself through the center. Take your hands to your right thigh, and then start to take your right foot into your left thigh. And we're going to use a prop from here. We're going to take a block, place your block to the inside of your left thigh, inside of your left thigh. And if you're pretty flexible, you can actually move the block a little bit more to the inside of the left calf, if that works as well for you. And then right away, take your hands out wide into a T shape. Take your left arm underneath your right arm, and then lift your elbows up to chin height, hinge from the hips, and we're gonna move our left forearm onto the block. Take your right arm back and behind you, turn your upper arm out of the shoulder, reach your arm up and over, and then start to come into Parita Janusirasana, a side bending Janusirasana. Maybe you tuck the chin into the armpit, maybe the right hand comes and touches for the toes eventually. That's it. So good. You really use that left rib cage to turn a little bit more towards the right side of the knee. Good. And then see if you can tuck your chin into your armpit. That's it. Some of you can. Yes, Barbara. So good. So pretty. Go for the challenge. And then take your gaze over your left foot. Take both hands around to frame your left foot. And then from here, some of you might be able to turn your block up to draw your forehead down. You can also stack your blocks in a T to find a little bit more ease and rest, coming into more traditional Janusirasana from here. That's it. Keep plugging your right foot into the left thigh bone. Keep dropping your right thigh down a little bit more. And then everybody put a little bend into your left knee, and then see if that moves your pubic bone a little bit more forward, so you can really deepen into the fold a little bit more. And then when it feels appropriate for you, you can start to straighten the left leg again. Think that the quadricep moves away from the center of the knee to straighten and lengthen through the back of the left knee. And then really fold into yourself. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, let everything go. Take the chin, tuck the chin into the chest, roll all the way up. Just for a moment, keep your blocks where they are. We're just gonna switch out the sides. Take your right leg long. Take your left foot to your right thigh. Have your left knee nice and bent. And then if you like the blocks on one side, for the side bend for Parivrtta Janusirasana, set up again. Take a block to the inside of the right thigh, or you can move it forward to the right calf. Take your arms out wide. Right away, take your left arm underneath your right arm, and then start to lift your elbows up, fold, 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 and then take your right forearm down on top of the block. Reach your left arm back and behind you. Turn your upper arm bone out of the shoulder. Send your hand up and over. Maybe make contact, left hand to right foot. And so anytime we have that right palm, really turn the right palm up, everybody, so that you're opening through the collarbone. So you're creating that space through the sides of the waist. Stay for one more breath. And then turn to face your right foot. And again, if you like the blocks, maybe stack the blocks again for a little bit more height. So your head has a place to rest. Our head is usually about 10 pounds. So think about a 10-pound bowling ball. We want to find a place to rest so that we find that ease in the back, ease in the neck. And then again, really deeply bend your right knee. Allow the bend of the right knee to pull your pelvis a little bit more into the fold. Think that your pubic bone moves forward. Think that your bend in your right knee pulls your right hip back into your socket, moving the hip out to its own side, finding space through the low back at the sacrum, and then soften, fold into the pose. And then really allow yourself to settle in. And so when we find these areas of constriction in the breath, we're really fighting ourselves. Where can you begin to notice where you're holding the breath? Notice that pulling in, and then notice that expansion, that opening, creating space, allowing yourselves to wonder. And then notice if you've been living in a state of fear. I think that's true for a lot of us lately. Where can you almost greet fear, much like you would a friend? And then start to find that flow of the breath to find within yourself that expansion and surrender. And tuck the chin in, slowly, mindfully come all the way back up. And straighten and lengthen through both legs. If you sat on something, move it off to the side. We're going to come down for Shavasana. If you'd like to have a blanket, you can take your blanket. I like to fold my blanket in a rectangle, so I'll unfold it from the square, smooth out the creases from the inside and the outside, and tuck the blanket underneath my knees. And that also helps just release any low back tension. And then start to recline yourself all the way back for your Shavasana. You have the luxury of being at home, so if you wanted legs up the wall, you can also take legs up the wall. Find a place that feels for you to come all the way down and find final rest. That's it. So some of the breath practices that we use, the breath practice that we did
with the Kapalabhati breathing is a breath of fire. And it meant to fire us up, to stir the pot of maybe what's going on that we need to get rid of. But there's also breath practices for soothing us or slowing us down. And so find a 4 count with a breath. Just use your imagination for this. Imagine the breath is 4 parts. 1, the inhalation. 2, the pause at the top of the inhale. 3, the exhalation. And 4, the pause at the bottom of the exhalation. When we get fearful, or when we hold things in, we burn out. And so we need to stoke the fire enough so that we can let go of any excess heat, but we also need to find the rain so that we find grace falling down into us, and we don't become like a wild horse where we're untamed and uncontrollable. And so think about the breath as a container, 4 parts, 4 sides, almost like you would build a stable for a wild horse. Then use that container, maybe even use that image of a stable to find the container of the breath. 1, inhale, breathe in. Pause at the top. Exhale, breathe out. Pause at the bottom. Then build that framework again. Do that 5 times. Inhale, breathe in. Hold the breath at the top. Exhale, breathe out. Hold at the bottom. 1 round. As you move through your 5 rounds, allow it to be a container, maybe a container for coming back to this idea that we worked with in the practice of contraction and expansion. But allow that container to really create a space where you can fully live, where you don't feel constricted, where you're making your own personal stable. Maybe imagine what the texture of the ground feels like. Do you paint it a color? Where is the stable? Is it somewhere next to a body of water? What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you see? What do you feel inside the stable? Is there a cool breeze? Is there a welcome sun ray coming in? Is there a cool place to sit? Start to breathe in all the senses. Use the breath to find the fullness. Find your own personal space within that container. Begin to find the breath again. Take a deep breath in. Open, let the breath out, perhaps with a sigh. And embody yourself in this moment. Feel anything that you needed to surrender. And when you're ready to come back to your day, feel free to roll on one side. You're at home, so if you want to stay, stay. It's your own time, your own container, so stay if you want to stay. And then when you're ready, come back to seated pose, legs crossed. Take your hands to your knees at the end as we began, coming full circle. And then close the eyes or pick a spot down to the ground. Feel your front, your back, your left, your right, your up, your down. And then really put yourself in the center. And then add the breath. Inhale, up, down, left, right, front and back. Exhale, put yourself in your own circumstance. Find yourself at your center. And then take your hands together over your heart. Really joining of the two palms signifies your own personal center, your own great mediator for all your circumstances. And let's close with a breath. Take a full breath. Inhale. Let it out. Exhale. Blink the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you. I'll come over and say hi and take you off mute if you want to say hi. If not, I'll see you next time. Just a couple of reminders. Every month we have a support group for anxiety and stress, and I believe that's tonight that Kay's running it, but it's on the website if you're interested. And then Liat does a support group for, she calls it 12 Steps, which is a support group for anyone that might be struggling with alcohol or addiction or even a loved one. So those are free support groups. Use them. They're fabulous. They've been around for a long time. And then just if you haven't known this about Ease, but we are running on a donation base right now. So if you are able and have the means to donate, we welcome any donations. But if you have any questions, let me know. Happy to answer any questions about the practice or anything that we did. I have a new class as well. I'll unmute everybody now. I have a new class as well that they're doing Fridays at 11, and it's for yoga and restorative yoga. So if you want to join on Fridays as well, I'm teaching that class as well, and then Sundays at 9:30. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day.
Thank you, Kat.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Kat.
much.
Yeah.
And
Good luck.
Have a great day. Thank you. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
thanks for joining, Barbara. Thanks for joining, Jules. Bye, Susan. Bye, Rebecca.
Thank you.
So
I'm sure
fun.
I was just nude, so I didn't want to be on
Oh, that's okay.
there. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. So good. So good to have you.
Adrian, one moment.